1941. The United States is no longer allowed to ignore the war that has been raging across the sea on both shores. With the attack on Pearl Harbor, the great American war machine sprang into action with soldiers fighting by land, sea, and air. But who was supporting the war effort from the home front? Prior to the war, 14 million women had been working during the Great Depression. However, with the onslaught of war calling many able-bodied men away, 6 million more women joined the workforce. As a result of women flocking to these jobs, 600 laundries went out of business in 1942, and in Detroit, a third of the restaurants closed because there was no one to run them. Women were also dropping out of college to take part in the total war effort, and female teachers who had been forced to quit when they had married were allowed to return to work to fill the vacancies in the classrooms. However, despite the need for workers being so high, 90% of the women who had been housewives during the bombing of Pearl Harbor still remained at home. The main reason was the lack of child care. Also, there was little glamour to be found in being a factory girl. Constance Bowman, a high school teacher, wrote, "I was tireder than I had ever been in my life, and also dirtier. My hair was tinseled with tiny shavings of metal, my hands were grimy, and my fingernails were bordered in black." When the war ended and the men returned home, women were forced out of their jobs. Instead, they were introduced to the suburbs and expected to give birth to the baby boomer generation. Yet the seeds of independence remain, waiting for future parents.
With every man utilized, we are still short millions of hands. We must call upon women. All over the United States, women are called upon to leave their homes and take jobs. Among our young unmarried women and among older women whose children are grown, we have a large reserve. They discover that factory work is usually no more difficult than housework. Employers find that women can do many jobs as well as men, some jobs better. Tens of thousands of women are already at work in aircraft. More are being added as fast as they apply. This solves the breadwinning problem for many families whose men are at war. The government's policy is that women should get the same pay that men get for similar work. Where necessary, machinery is adapted for women's use. When a hand drill weighs heavily on feminine muscles, the lazy arm drill is introduced to take off the strain. When married women with small children have to take jobs, everything possible will be done to provide day care for the children.
So we must say goodbye, my darling, and go as lovers go forever. Tonight remains to pack and fix on labels and make an end of lying down together. I put a final shilling in the gas and watch you slip your dress below your knees and lie so still I hear your rustling comb modulate the autumn in the trees. And all the countless things I shall remember lay mummy cloths of silence round my head. I fill the carafe with a drink of water. You say, we paid a guinea for this bed. And then we leave some gas, a little warmth for the next resident, and these dry flowers, and turn your face away, afraid to speak the big word, that eternity is ours. Your kisses close my eyes, and yet you stare as though God struck a child with nameless fears. Perhaps the water glitters and discloses time's chalice and its limpid, useless tears. Everything we renounce except ourselves. Selfishness is the last of all to go. Our sighs